Chapter 10. My first thought is that she's not exactly like Courtney Cox, nor is she wearing a white silk trouser suit. Her dark hair is cropped short, and she's wearing a plain, workmanlike brown shirt over jeans. I guess it's kind of utility chic. And she's pretty-ish. Even though I'd say her makeup is maybe a bit too natural. "Hi," she says in a flat, matter-of-fact voice. "Hi," I say tremulously. "I'm Becky, your long-lost sister." I'm about to rush forward and fling my arms around her neck when I realize that I'm holding the basket. So instead, I thrust it at her. "This is from me. It's a present, love," Mom adds helpfully. "Thanks," says Jess, looking down at it. "That's great." There's a short silence. I'm waiting for Jess to tear off the wrappings impatiently or say, "Can I open it right now?" Or even just exclaim, "Ooh, origins, my favorite." But she just puts it down on the hall table. She's probably being polite, it occurs to me. I mean, she's never met me before. Maybe she thinks I'm all formal and correct, and she has to be too. What I must do is put her at ease. "I just can't believe you're here," I say momentously. "The sister I never knew I had." I put a hand on her arm and look right into her eyes, which are hazel with little specks. Oh my gosh, we're bonding. This is just like one of the scenes in my long-lost sister's book. "You knew, didn't you?" I say, smiling to conceal my rising emotion. "Didn't you somehow know you had a sister all along?" "No," says Jess, looking blank. "I had no idea." "Oh, right," I say, feeling a bit discomfited. She wasn't supposed to say that. She was supposed to say, "I always felt you in my heart," and burst into tears. I'm not quite sure what to say next. "Anyway," Mom says cheerfully, "come on in, Jess. You must need some coffee after your journey." As Mom ushers Jess in, I look in surprise at the brown rucksack she's carrying. It's not very big at all, and she's staying a whole week at the conference. "Is that all your luggage?" I say. "That's all I need," she shrugs. "I'm a light packer." "Did you FedEx the rest?" I say in an undertone, and give her a friendly, "I understand" look. "No," she glances at Mom. "This is all I've brought." "It's okay," I smile conspiratorially. "I won't say anything." I knew we'd be kindred spirits. I knew it. "Welcome, my dear girl," says Dad. As he gives Jess a hug, I suddenly feel a bit weird. It's as though it's hitting me for the first time. Dad has another daughter, not just me. But then, that's what families are about, isn't it? Getting bigger, adding new members. "This is Luke, my husband," I say quickly. "How do you do?" he says, pleasantly coming forward. As he shakes her hand, I feel a little glow of pride in each of them. I look at Mom, and she gives me an encouraging smile. "Let's go through." She leads the way into the living room, where there are flowers on the table and plates of biscuits laid out invitingly. We all sit down, just looking a little uncomfortable, on the soft, squashy sofa. This is unreal. I'm sitting opposite my half-sister. As Mom pours out the coffee, I peer at Jess, mapping her face onto mine, trying to see the similarities between us. And there are loads, or at least some. She's got pretty much the same eyes as mine, except a different color and a slightly different shape. Plus, her nose would be just like mine if she didn't have that pointy end. And her hair would be exactly the same if she just grew it a bit and dyed it and maybe put on a deep conditioning treatment. She's probably scrutinizing me in exactly the same way, I suddenly realize. I've hardly been able to sleep, I say, and give her a slightly bashful smile. It's so exciting to meet you at last. Jess nods but doesn't say anything. Gosh, she is very reserved. I'll have to draw her out a bit. Am I anything like you imagined? I give a self-conscious little laugh and smooth my hair back. Jess surveys me for a moment, moving her eyes around my face. I didn't really imagine what you'd be like, she says at last. Oh, right. I don't imagine things much, she adds. I just take them as they come. Have a biscuit, Jess, Mom says pleasantly. These are pecan and maple. Thanks, says Jess, taking one. Me too. I look up and I love them too. Gosh, it just shows genes will out. We were brought up miles away from each other in different families, but we still have the same tastes. Jess, why didn't you call from the station, Dad says, taking a cup of coffee from Mom. I would have picked you up. You didn't need to take a cab. I didn't get a cab, says Jess. I walked. You walked, says Dad in surprise. From Oxshott Station? From Kingston. I took the coach down. She gulps her coffee. It was far cheaper. I saved 25 pounds. You walked all the way from Kingston? Mom looks appalled. It was no distance, says Jess. And the bus would have been £3.50. Jess is a very keen walker, Becky, explains Mom. She smiles at Jess. It's your main hobby, isn't it, love? This is too much. We should be on a documentary or something. Me too, I exclaim. It's my hobby, too. Isn't that amazing? There's silence. I look around at the bewildered faces of my family. Honestly, what's wrong with them? Is walking your hobby, love? Mom says uncertainly. Of course it is. I walk around London all the time, don't I, Luke? Luke gives me a quizzical look. Certain streets of London have been pounded down by your feet. Yes, he agrees. Do you do power walking then? Jess asks, looking interested. Well, I think for a few moments it's more like I combine it with other activities for variety. Like cross-training? Kind of, I nod and take a bite of biscuit. There's another little silence as if everyone's waiting for everyone else to speak. Why are we all so awkward? We should be natural. Do you like films? I ask at last. Some, replies Jess, frowning thoughtfully. I like films that say something, that have some sort of message. Me too, I agree fervently. Every film should definitely have a message. Which is true. I mean, take the Lord of the Rings movies. They've got loads of messages, like, don't lose your ring. More coffee, anyone? Says Mom, looking round. There's another coffee pot ready in the kitchen. I'll go, I chime in, leaping up from the sofa. And Luke, why don't you come and help me in case I can't find it? I know I don't sound very convincing, but I don't care. I'm just dying to talk to Luke. As soon as we're in the kitchen, I shut the door and look at him eagerly. So, what do you think of my sister? She seems very nice. Isn't she great? And there are so many similarities between us, don't you think? I'm sorry? Luke stares at me. Jess and me. We're so alike. Alike? Luke looks flabbergasted. Yes, I say, a tad impatiently. Weren't you listening? She likes pecans. I like pecans. She likes walking. I like walking. We both like films. I make a whirling motion with my hands. It's like there's already this amazing understanding between us. If you say so, he says dubiously. Don't you like her? I say, crestfallen. Well, of course I like her, but I've hardly spoken 2 words to her, and nor have you. Well, I know, I admit, but that's because we're all so stilted in there. We can't chat properly. So, I thought I'd suggest the 2 of us go out together somewhere. Really have a chance to bond. Like where? I don't know, for a walk, or a little shopping trip maybe. He nods. A little shopping trip. Good idea. I'm assuming this would be on your daily budget of £20. What? I cannot believe he's bringing up the budget at a time like this. I mean, how many times do you go shopping with your long-lost sister for the very first time? This is a one-off extraordinary event. I'm trying to control my impatience. Clearly, I need an extra budget. I thought we agreed no one-offs, says Luke. No unique opportunities. Don't you remember? I feel a surge of outrage. Fine, I say, folding my arms. I won't bond with my sister. The only sound in the kitchen is the ticking of the wall clock. I give a huge sigh and glance surreptitiously at Luke, but he seems unmoved. Becky, Mum's voice interrupts us. Where's the coffee? We're all waiting. She comes into the kitchen and looks from Luke to me in alarm. There isn't a problem, is there? You're not arguing? I turn to Mum. I want to take Jess out shopping, but Luke says I've got to stick to my budget. Luke, exclaims Mum reproachfully. I think that's a lovely idea, Becky. You 2 girls should spend some time together. Why not pop to Kingston? You could have lunch, too. Exactly. I'm shooting resentful vibes at Luke, but I haven't got any money except 20 quid. And as I say, we're on a budget, says Luke in implacable tones. I'm sure you'd agree that successful budgeting is the first rule of a happy marriage, Jane? Yes, of course, says Mom, looking distracted. Suddenly her face brightens. The Greenlows. The who? Your cousins in Australia. They sent a check for your wedding present. I've been meaning to give it to you. It's in Australian dollars, but even so, it's quite a lot. She roots around in a drawer and pulls it out. Here we are. 500 Australian dollars. Fantastic. I take the check from her and examine it. So now you can treat yourself and Jess to something nice. Mum squeezes my arm with a smile. You see, I say in triumph. Okay. You win this time. Luke rolls his eyes. Suddenly excited, I hurry into the living room. Hi, Jess, I said, you want to go out somewhere, like to the shops? Oh, Jess looks taken aback. Well, go on, love, says Mom, coming in behind me. Have a little spree. We can go and have lunch somewhere, really get to know each other. What do you think? Well, okay, she says at last. Excellent. I feel a zing of anticipation. My first ever shopping trip with my sister. This is so thrilling. I'll go and get ready. Wait, says Jess, before you go, I brought you something too. It's not much, but... She goes over to her rucksack, opens it, and takes out a parcel wrapped up in paper, printed all over with the words, Happy New Year, 1999. That is so cool. I love kitsch wrapping paper, I say, admiring it. Where did you find it? It was free from the bank, says Jess. Oh, I say in surprise. Excellent. I rip off the wrapping and find a plastic box divided into 3 compartments. Wow, I exclaim at once. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. It's just what I wanted. I fling an arm around Jess's neck and give her a kiss. What is it, love? Mom asks, looking at it with interest. To be honest, I'm not actually quite sure. It's a food saver, explains Jess. You can keep leftovers in it, and they all stay separate. Rice, casserole, whatever. I couldn't live without mine. That's brilliant. It'll be so useful. I look at the 3 compartments thoughtfully. I think I'll keep all my lip balms in it. Lip balms? Says Jess, clearly taken aback. I'm always losing them, aren't you? I put the lid back on and admire it for a few more moments. Then I pick up the wrapping paper and crumple it into a ball. Jess winces as though someone just trod on her foot. You could have folded that up, she says, and I look at her puzzled. Why on earth would I fold used wrapping paper? But then maybe this is one of her pet habits that I'll have to get used to. We all have little quirks. Oh, right, I say, of course, silly me. I uncrease the crumpled paper, smooth it out, and fold it carefully into quarters. There we are. With a cheerful smile, I drop it in the waste paper bin. Let's go. Chapter 11. It only takes 15 minutes by car to get to Kingston, which is the nearest big shopping center to Mom and Dad. I find a meter and after about 20 attempts, manage to park the car vaguely in a straight line. Jess sits stoically beside me in the passenger seat, saying nothing, not even when the lorry driver starts hooting at me. Anyway, never mind. The point is we're here. It's a fantastic day. Sunny, but not too warm, with tiny clouds scudding across the blue sky. As I get out, I look around the sunlit street, feeling all buzzy with anticipation. My first shopping trip with my sister. What shall we do first? As I start to feed the parking meter, I go through all the options in my head. We should definitely get a free makeover and check out that new underwear shop Mom was talking about. How long exactly are we planning to stay here? Jess asks as I shove in my 6th pound coin. This should take us up to 6 o'clock, and after that, parking's free. 6 o'clock? She looks a bit stunned. Don't worry, I say reassuringly. The shops don't close at 6. They'll be open till at least 8. And we have to go into a department store and try on lots of evening dresses. One of my best times ever was when I spent a whole afternoon trying on posh dresses in Harrods with Suze. We kept putting on more and more outrageous million-pound frocks and swishing around, and all the snooty assistants got really annoyed and kept asking, had we made our choice yet? At last, Suze said she thought she had, but she wanted to see it with a Cartier diamond tiara just to make sure. And could jewelry possibly send one up? I think that's when they asked us to leave. Gosh, Suze and I used to have fun together. She's just the best person in the world for saying, go on, buy it. Even when I was stone broke, she'd say, buy it, I'll pay. You can always pay me back. And then she'd buy one too, and we'd go and have a cappuccino. But anyway, there's no point getting all nostalgic. So, I turned to Jess. What do you feel like doing first? There are loads of shops here. 2 department stores. I hate department stores, says Jess. They make me feel ill. Oh, right. That's fair enough. Loads of people hate department stores. Well, there are lots of boutiques, too. In fact, I've just thought of the perfect place. I lead her off the main high street, away from the pedestrianized shopping precinct, and turn left down a cobbled side road. As we walk, I hitch my angel bag higher on my shoulder, admiring its reflection in a shop window across the street. That bag was worth every single penny. I'm slightly surprised Jess hasn't said anything about it, actually. If my sister had an angel bag, it would be the first thing I'd mention. But then, maybe she's trying to be all cool and blasé. So, where do you normally shop, I ask. Wherever's cheapest, replies Jess. Me too. At the most fab Ralph Lauren top at this designer outlet in Utah, 90% off. I tend to do a lot of bulk buying, says Jess with a little frown. If you buy large enough quantities, you can get pretty good savings. Oh my gosh, we are totally on the same wavelength. I knew we would be. You are so right, I exclaim in delight. That's what I keep trying to explain to Luke, but he just can't see the logic. So, do you belong to a warehouse club? Jess looks at me with interest. Or a food co-op? A food co-op? No. But on my honeymoon, I did loads of excellent bulk buying. I bought 40 mugs and 20 silk dressing gowns. Silk dressing gowns, echoes Jess, looking taken aback. They were such an investment. I told Luke it made financial sense, but he just wouldn't listen. Okay, here we are. This is it. We've arrived at the glass doors of Georgina's. It's a big, light boutique selling clothes, jewelry, and the most gorgeous bags. I've been coming here since I was 12, and it's one of my favorite shops in the world. You are going to love this shop, I say to Jess happily, and push the door open. Sandra, one of the assistants, is arranging a collection of beaded purses on a pedestal, and she looks up as the door pings. Her face lights up immediately. Becky, long time no see. How is the honeymoon? Great, thanks. And how's married life treating you? She grins. Had your first big bust up yet? Ha ha, I say, grinning back. I'm about to introduce Jess when Sandra shrieks. Oh my gosh. Is that an angel bag? Is it real? Yes, I glow. Owning an angel bag is just total bliss. I don't believe it. She's got an angel bag. Sandra calls out to the other two assistants. They rush to the front of the shop, gasping, "Can I touch it? Where did you get it?" Milan. Only Becky Bloom would. Sandra's shaking her head. Only Becky Bloomwood would walk in here with an angel bag. So how much did that cost you? Enough. Wow. She strokes it gingerly. It's absolutely amazing. What's so special? Jess asked blankly. I mean, it's just a bag. There's a stunned pause. Then we all burst out laughing. Gosh, Jess is quite witty. Sandra, I want to introduce you to someone. I pull Jess forward. This is my sister. Your sister? Sandra looks at Jess in shock. I didn't know you had a sister. Neither did I. We're long-lost sisters, aren't we, Jess? I put an arm round her. Half-sisters, corrects Jess a little stiffly. Georgina! Sandra's calling to the back of the shop. Georgina, you have to come out here. You won't believe it. Becky Bloomwood's here, and she's got a sister. There are 2 of them. A curtain swishes back, and Georgina, the owner of the shop, comes out. She's in her 50s with slate gray hair and the most amazing turquoise eyes. She's wearing a velvet tunic top with pencil-thin black trousers, and she's holding a fountain pen. Her eyes sparkle when she sees me and Jess. 2 Bloomwood sisters, she says softly. Well, what a wonderful thing. She exchanges looks with the assistants. We'll reserve 2 fitting rooms, says Sandra promptly. If there aren't enough, we can always share a fitting room, can't we, Jess, I say. I'm sorry? Jess looks startled. We're sisters. I give her an affectionate squeeze. We shouldn't be shy with each other. It's okay, says Sandra, glancing at Jess's face. There are plenty of fitting rooms. Take your time walking around and enjoy. I told you this was a nice place, I say happily to Jess. So, let's start here. I head over to a rack full of delicious-looking tops and start leafing through the hangers. Isn't this gorgeous? I pull out a pink t-shirt with a little butterfly motif. And this one with the daisy would really suit you. Do you want to try them, says Sandra. I can pop them in the fitting rooms for you. Yes, please. I hand them over and smile at Jess. But she doesn't smile back. In fact, she hasn't moved from the spot. I suppose it can be a bit weird shopping for the first time with someone new. Sometimes it just clicks straight away, like when I went shopping for the first time with Suze and we both reached for the same Lulu Guinness makeup bag simultaneously. But sometimes it can be a bit awkward, not knowing what each other's tastes are yet. And you keep trying different things and asking, do you like this or this? I think Jess might need a bit of encouragement. These skirts are fabulous, I say, going over to another rack which is filled with evening wear. This black one with the netting would look amazing on you. I take it down and hold it up against Jess. She reaches for the price tag, looks at it, and goes pale. I can't believe these prices, she murmurs. They're pretty reasonable, aren't they? I murmur back. And the skirt, says Sandra, popping it behind us. Yes, please, and I'll try it in the gray. Ooh, and the pink, I add, suddenly noticing a rose-colored skirt hiding at the back. 20 minutes later, we've been around the whole shop, and 2 piles of clothes are waiting for us in the fitting rooms at the back. Jess hasn't spoken much. In fact, she hasn't spoken at all. But I've made up for it, picking out all the clothes I think would look great on her and adding them to the pile. Okay, I say exhilarated, let's go and try them on. I bet you look fantastic in that pink skirt. You should put it with the off-the-shoulder top, and maybe... I'm not going to try anything on, says Jess. She shoves her hands in her pockets and leans against a patch of empty wall. I can't have heard her correctly. What did you say? I'm not going to try anything on. She nods toward the fitting room, so you go ahead, I'll wait here. Did I miss something? But why? I don't need any new clothes, replies Jess. Now I'm utterly baffled. Across the shop, I'm aware of the assistants exchanging bewildered glances. You must need something, I say. A t-shirt, a pair of trousers. No, I'm fine. Don't you even want to try on one of those gorgeous tops? I hold up a fabulous little juicy t-shirt encouragingly, just to see what they look like on. I'm not going to buy them, Jess shrugs, so what's the point? It's on me, I say, suddenly realizing. You do know this is all my treat? I don't want to waste your money. Don't let me stop you, though, she adds. I'm at a complete loss. What should I do? Everything's in the fitting room, Sandra puts in. Go on, Jess nods. Well, okay, I say at last. I won't be long. I try on most of the clothes, but my excitement's evaporated. It's not the same on my own. I wanted us to try things on together. I wanted it to be fun. I just don't understand it. How can she not try anything on? She must totally hate my taste, I realize, with a plunge of despair. And she hasn't said anything because she wants to be polite. Any good, says Georgina, as I finally emerge. Yes, I say, trying to sound upbeat. I'll take 2 of the tops and the pink skirt. It's really gorgeous on. I glance at Jess, but she's staring into space. Suddenly she comes to, as if she's just noticed me. Ready, she says. Yes, I'll just go and pay. We head over to the front desk where Sandra starts scanning in my purchases. Meanwhile, Georgina is surveying Jess. If you're not in the mood for clothes, Georgina says suddenly, what about jewelry? She pulls out a tray from under the cash desk. We've got some lovely bracelets in, only 10 pounds. This might suit you. She lifts up a beautiful bracelet made of plain silver ovals linked together. I hold my breath. It's nice, Jess nods, and I feel a huge pang of relief. For Becky's sister, says Georgina, 3 pounds. Wow, I beam at her. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Georgina. No thanks, says Jess. I don't need a bracelet. What? My head swivels in shock. Did she not understand? But it's only 3 pounds, I say. It's a total bargain. I don't need it, Jess shrugs. But I'm at a loss for words. How can you not buy a bracelet for 3 pounds? How? There you are, Becky, says Sandra, handing over the rope cords of my carrier bags. There are 2 of them, all pale pink and glossy and scrumptious, but as my hands close round the handles, I don't feel my customary rush of delight. In fact, I barely feel anything. I'm too confused. Well, bye then, I say, and thanks. See you soon. Bye, Becky, darling, says Georgina, and Jess, she adds, see you again, I hope. Becky, says Sandra, before you go, just let me give you the leaflet about our sale. She hurries over, hands me a glossy leaflet, and leans forward. I'm not being funny or anything, she says into my ear, but are you sure she's your sister? So, I say uncertainly as we emerge into the street. That was fun. I glance at Jess, but she's got that composed, matter-of-fact expression, and I can't tell what she's thinking. I wish just once she'd smile, or say, yes, it was fab. It's a shame you didn't find anything in Georgina's, I venture. Did you like the clothes? Jess shrugs. I knew it. She just hates my taste. All that pretending she doesn't need any clothes is just to be polite. I mean, who doesn't need a t-shirt? Well, never mind. We'll just have to find different shops. Shops that Jess likes. As we head down the sunny street, I'm thinking hard. Not skirts, not bracelets. Jeans. Everyone likes jeans. Perfect. I really need a new pair of jeans, I say casually. Why? Just frowns. What's wrong with the jeans you're wearing? Well, nothing, but I need some more, I say with a laugh. I want some a bit longer than these, not too low slung, maybe in a really dark inky blue. I look at Jess expectantly, waiting for her to respond, but she just continues walking. Had to pause for a moment, so I think what the last sentence I was reading was, well, nothing, but I need some more, I say with a laugh. I want some a bit longer than these, not too low slung, maybe in a really dark inky blue. I look at Jess expectantly, waiting for her to respond, but she just continues walking. So, do you need any jeans? I feel like I'm pushing a heavy rock uphill. No, says Jess, but you go ahead. Maybe another time, I force a smile. It doesn't matter. By now we've reached the corner, and yes, LK Bennett is having a sale. Look at these, I exclaim in excitement, hurrying to the big window filled with colorful strappy sandals. Aren't they gorgeous? What kind of shoes do you like? Jess runs her eyes over the display. I don't really bother much with shoes, she says. No one ever notices shoes. For a moment, my legs feel weak with shock. No one ever notices shoes. But, of course, she's joking. I'm going to have to get used to her dry sense of humor. Oh, you, I say, and give her a friendly push. Well, I might just pop in and try some on, if you don't mind. If I try on enough pairs, I'm thinking Jess is bound to join in too. Except she doesn't. Not at the next shop either. Nor does she try on any of the perfumes or makeup at Space NK. I'm laden with bags, but Jess still doesn't have one thing. She can't be enjoying herself. She must think I'm a rubbish sister. Do you need any kitchenware? I suggest in desperation. We could buy cool aprons or some chrome gadgety things. But Jess is shaking her head. I get all mine from the discount warehouse. It's much cheaper than the high street. Well, what about luggage? I exclaim, suddenly inspired. Luggage is one of those areas you can really forget about. I don't need any luggage, says Jess. I've got my rucksack. Right. I'm totally running out of ideas. What else is there? Lamps, maybe, or rugs? Suddenly, Jess's eyes light up. Hang on, she says, sounding more animated than she has all day. Do you mind if I go in here? I stop still. We're outside a tiny, quite nondescript stationery shop, which I've never been into. Absolutely. My words come tumbling out in a whoosh of relief. Go ahead, fantastic. Stationery, of course. Why on earth didn't I think of that before? She's a student. She writes all the time. That must be her thing. The shop is so narrow, I'm not sure I'll fit in with all my carrier bags. So I wait outside on the pavement, thrilled she's finally shown an interest in something. I wonder what she's buying. Gorgeous notebooks or handmade cards or maybe some beautiful fountain pen. I mean, all kudos to her. I'd never even noticed this shop before. So what did you buy? I demand in excitement as soon as she comes out, holding two bulging carrier bags. Show. Jess looks blank. I didn't buy anything, she says. But your carrier bags, what's in them? Didn't you see the sign? She gestures at a handwritten postcard in the window. They're giving away used padded envelopes. She opens up her carriers to reveal a selection of battered Jiffy bags and a bundle of squashed up graying bubble wrap. I must have saved at least 10 pounds, she adds with satisfaction, and they'll always come in handy. I'm speechless. Fab, I manage at last. They're really gorgeous. I love the labels. So we've both done really well. Let's go and have a cappuccino. There's a coffee shop round the corner, and as we approach it, my spirits begin to rise again. So maybe the shopping hasn't gone as I imagined, but it doesn't matter. The point is, here we are, two sisters coming for a cappuccino and a gossip together. We'll sit at a lovely marble table and sip our coffees and tell each other all about ourselves. I brought a flask, comes Jess's voice behind me. I turn round to see Jess taking a white plastic flask out of her rucksack. What? I say faintly. We don't want that overpriced coffee. She jabs a thumb at the cafe. The markup at those places is appalling. But we can sit on this bench. I'll just wipe it clean. I gaze at her in rising dismay. I cannot have my first ever coffee with my long-lost sister sitting on some grotty old bench, swigging out of a flask. But I want to go into a nice coffee shop. The words rush out before I can stop them. And sit at a marble table and have a proper cappuccino. Jess is surveying me with pained disapproval, as though she can't believe anyone would be so shallow. Please? I say plaintively. Oh, says Jess. Well, okay. She closes up her flask, but you should get into the habit of making your own. You could save hundreds of pounds a year. Just buy a second-hand flask. And you can use coffee grounds at least twice. The flavor's fine. I'll bear that in mind, I say, barely listening. Come on. The coffee shop is all warm and aromatic with a fabulous smell of coffee. There are spotlights dancing on the marble tables and music playing and a happy, cheerful buzz. You see, I beam at Jess. Isn't this nice? A table for me and my sister, please, I add happily to a waiter standing by the door. I so love saying that, my sister. We sit down and I put all my shopping bags on the floor and feel myself start to relax. This is better. In fact, this is what we should have done first of all. A waitress who looks about 12 and is wearing a badge saying, "It's my first day," approaches our table. Hi, I greet her. I'd like a cappuccino, please. We should be having champagne, really. I can't resist adding. We're long-lost sisters. Wow, says the waitress. Cool. I'll just have some plain tap water, thanks, says Jess, closing her menu. Don't you want a nice frothy coffee? I say in surprise. I don't want to pay vastly inflated prices to a global money-making corporation. She gives the waitress a severe look. Do you think a 400% profit margin is ethical? The waitress looks stumped. Did you want ice in your water? She says at last. Have a coffee too, I say quickly. Go on. I look at the waitress. She'll have a cappuccino. I turn to Jess. You get a free chocolate in the saucer. As the waitress scuttles away, Jess frowns. Do you know the real cost of making a cappuccino? It's a few pence, and we're being charged nearly £2. Gosh, Jess has a bit of a thing about coffee, doesn't she? But never mind, I'll just change the subject. So, I lean back and spread my arms. Tell me all about yourself. What do you want to know? Says Jess. Everything, I say enthusiastically. Like, what are your hobbies apart from walking? She ponders for a few moments. I like caving, she says at last, as the waitress puts 2 cappuccinos down in front of us. Caving, I echo. Is that where you go into caves? Jess gives me a look over her cup. That's basically it, yes. Wow, that's really... I'm struggling for words. What can I say about caves? Apart from they're all dark and cold and slimy. That's really interesting, I say at last. I'd love to go in a cave. And of course rocks, Jess adds. That's my main interest. Me too, especially great big shiny rocks from Tiffany's. I laughed to show him joking, but Jess doesn't react. I'm not entirely sure she got it. My PhD is on the petrogenesis and geochemistry of fluorite hematite deposits, she says, showing more animation than she has all day. I don't think I understood one bit of that. Great, I say. So, how come you decided to study rocks? My father got me into it, says Jess, and her face relaxes into a smile. It's his passion, too. Dad, I say in amazement. I never knew he was into rocks. Not your dad. She gives me a scathing look. My dad, my stepfather, the man who brought me up. Right. Of course she didn't mean Dad. That was really stupid. Suddenly my head is full of questions. So did he always know that you... I trail off, not quite knowing how to put it. My dad knew I wasn't his pretty much from the word go. Jess is turning a spoon over and over in her fingers, but he raised me all the same. He never treated me any different from my brothers. I dart a look at her averted face. Did you know, I asked hesitantly, that he wasn't really your dad? Yes, but we didn't talk about it. He was my real dad as far as I was concerned. Still is. Didn't you ever want to go looking for your biological father? I might have done. She stops rotating the spoon. Once. But then Mom died and Dad was all I had left. I didn't need another dad. It was only when I found out about this blood disorder I realized there could be people related to me not knowing they were at risk. I felt responsible. It would have preyed on my mind. She looks up. You should get yourself tested, Becky. Oh, I'm going to, I say quickly. Dad already has been, but he's okay, and, thanks. No problem. So, what's your dad like? Jess deliberates for a while. He's great, she says at last. I wait for more details, but there don't seem to be any. I don't quite dare ask about her mom, not until I know her better. Jess sips her water, and I fiddle with my chocolate wrapper, wondering what to talk about next. I'm slightly at a loss, which is ridiculous. This is my sister, come on. So, are you going on holiday this year? I ask at last. Gosh, I must be desperate. I sound like a hairdresser. I don't know yet, says Jess. It all depends. Suddenly, I have the most marvelous idea. We could go on holiday together, I say in excitement. Wouldn't that be great? We could get a villa in Italy or something. Really get to know each other. Rebecca, listen, Jess interrupts flatly. I'm not looking for another family. My face is suddenly hot. I know, I stammer. I don't need another family, she presses on. I said this to Jane and Graham in the summer. That's not why I tracked you down. It was my duty to contact you about the medical situation. That's all. What do you mean by that's all? I falter. I mean, it's nice to meet you. And your mom and dad are great, but you've got your life. She pauses, and I've got mine. Is she saying she doesn't want to get to know me? Her own sister? But we've only just found each other, I say in a rush. After all these years. Don't you find it amazing? I lean forward and put my hand next to hers. Look, we have the same blood. So what? Jess looks unmoved. It's just a biological fact. But haven't you always wanted a sister? Haven't you always wondered what it would be like? Not particularly. She must see the hurt on my face. Don't get me wrong. It's been interesting to meet you. Interesting. It's been interesting. I push the froth around the cappuccino with my spoon. She doesn't want to get to know me. My own sister doesn't want to get to know me. What's wrong with me? Nothing's going the way I planned. I thought today would be one of the best days of my life. I thought shopping with my sister would be fun. I thought we'd be bonded by now. I thought we'd be having coffee, surrounded by all our fab new things, laughing and teasing each other. So, shall we go back to your mom? Says Jess, draining her cup. What? Already? I say, startled. But we've got hours left. You haven't even bought anything yet. Jess sighs impatiently. Look, Becky, I wanted to be polite, so I came along today. But the truth is, I really can't stand shopping. My heart sinks. I knew she wasn't having a good time. I knew she hated my taste. I have to salvage this. I know we haven't found the right shops yet. I lean forward eagerly, but there are more. We can go into different ones. No, Jess interrupts. You don't get it. I don't like shopping. Full stop. Catalogs, I say, suddenly inspired. We could go home, get a load of catalogs. It'd be fun. Can't you get this through your head? Jess exclaims in exasperation. Read my lips very carefully. I hate shopping. When we arrive home, Luke is in the front garden talking to Dad. As he sees us pulling into the drive, he looks stunned. What are you doing back so soon? He says, hurrying over to the car. Is anything wrong? Everything's fine, I say. My brain still feels like it's short-circuited. We were just quicker than I thought we'd be. Thanks, says Jess, getting out. It was a pleasure. As Jess heads toward Dad, Luke gets into the car beside me and closes the door. Becky, are you okay? I'm fine, I think. I can't quite get my head around the day. My mind keeps replaying the way I fantasized it would be. The two of us sauntering along, swinging our bags, laughing happily, trying on each other's things, buying each other friendship bracelets, calling each other by little nicknames. So, how was it? I forced a bright smile. It was really good fun. We both had a great time. What did you buy? A couple of tops, a really nice skirt, some shoes. Luke nods. And what did Jess buy? For a moment I can't speak. Nothing, I whisper at last. Oh, Becky. Luke sighs and puts his arm around me. I know you wanted to find a soulmate. I know you wanted Jess to be your new best friend. But maybe you'll have to accept that you're just too different. We're not too different, I say stubbornly. We're sisters. Sweetheart, it's okay, says Luke. You can admit it if you don't get along. No one will think you've failed. Failed? We do get along, I say, stung. We do. We just need to find a bit more common ground. So she doesn't like shopping, but that doesn't matter. I like things other than shopping. Luke is shaking his head. Accept it. You're different people, and there's no reason why you should get on. But we've got the same blood. We can't be that different. We can't be. Becky, I'm not going to give up just like that. This is my long-lost sister we're talking about. Sweetheart, I cut him off. I know we can be friends. I know we can. With sudden determination, I wrench open the car door and get out. Hey, Jess, I call, hurrying across the lawn. After your conference, do you want to come and stay for the weekend? I promise we'll have a good time. That's a nice idea, love, says Dad, his face lighting up. I'm not sure, says Jess. I really have to get back home. Please, just one weekend. We don't need to go shopping. The words come tumbling out of me. It won't be like today. We can do whatever you like. Just have a really low-key, easy time. What do you think? My fingers are twisting into knots. Jess glances at Dad's hopeful face. Okay, she says at last. That would be nice. Thanks. And the chapter ends with some letters. First one from PGNI First Bank Visa, 7 Camel Square, Liverpool, L15NP. To Mrs. Rebecca Brandon, 37 Maida Vale Mansions, Maida Vale, London, NW6, 0YF. 12 May 2003. Dear Mrs. Brandon, thank you for your prompt response to my letter of 20 April. We are glad to inform you that you have been successful in your application for the high-status Golden Credit Card. In answer to your questions, the card will be delivered to your home address and will resemble a credit card. It cannot be, quote, disguised as a cake, unquote, as you suggest, nor can we provide a distraction outside as it arrives. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact me, and we hope you enjoy the benefits of your new card. Yours sincerely, Peter Johnson, Customer Accounts Executive. Another letter from PGNY First Bank Visa, 7 Camel Square, Liverpool, L15NP, to Ms. Jessica Bertram, 12 Hill Rise, Scully, Cumbria, CA19 1BD, 12 May 2003. Dear Ms. Bertram, thank you for your prompt response to my letter of 20 April. I apologize for approaching you with the offer of a high-status golden credit card. I did not mean to cause any offense. By saying you have been personally handpicked for a £20,000 credit limit, I was not intending to imply that you are, quote, debt-ridden and irresponsible, unquote, nor to defame your character. As a gesture of goodwill, I enclose a gift voucher of £25 and look forward to being of service should you change your mind on the issue of credit cards. Yours sincerely, Peter Johnson, Customer Accounts Executive.